So this is a 99 Ford Ranger. For today's video, we're going to be replacing this. This is the funnel that goes directly underneath the oil filter. It's there for a reason. You guys who have one of these trucks with the 3.0 likely know why it's there. First thing we're going to have to do is disconnect the battery, because we are going to have to remove the starter in order to get access to where this funnel bolts up at. So we're just going to undo that. So in order to remove the starter, you're just going to need a 13 millimeter. I'm probably going to have to go figure out what size the bolt is for this, but we'll get there when we do. I'm also going to need a 10 millimeter. So there's the starter. You'll see that we have leads and a cap, as well as 3 bolts on the back holding this thing on. All 3 of those, I believe, are 13 millimeter. First thing I'm going to do is pull the wires off the front, and then we'll get to unmounting the starter and getting it out of the way. So that cap just pops right off. All you do is just get your fingers in there, pull it off, and it comes off. No big deal. So now we're just going to remove the wires. All right, hopefully the camera can see that, but we're just going to move these wires around. Find the easiest way to get them off. There's one nut. Throw that out of the way. And we've got one more, which that looks like a 13 millimeter. And it is. Just undo that. There's the nut. And pull that lead off. This is really not Ford's best design. The filter funnel was just, you could tell this was an afterthought. Wish they had done something different, but here we are. So now just to remove the back 3, and it's going to be fun to get to that top one, but we'll see what we can do. Now the camera's not in the best spot. Well, that's not all that tight either. Just that one. All right, so there's the ratchet, long extension, wobble, and 13 mil. So let's see if I can do this one-handed. Not bad. Okay. Forward. There we go. That pig's out of the way. Now we can get up here, install that stupid funnel. Well, so I had to take the oil filter off. There's the oil that drained out. Ford, in their infinite wisdom, put the stupid motor mount and the bolt that connects to this thing where this funnel mounts to. They put it in such a weird spot. I basically had to pry this thing off. And the right way to do this would have been to disconnect the 2 nuts from the top, which were not exactly the easiest to get to, and I was kind of already committed to doing it this way, so I just kind of pried the nut off when I got it to the end, and there's like no space. Like right when it's at the end of the bolt, it's not even on the threads anymore, it's just sitting on the end of it. The stupid motor mount's in the way, and you can't get the damn nut off. Definitely some bad engineering there, but you guys can see I put a rag over the filter port. The first thing we'll do is put the oil filter back on. So make sure all that's nice and clean. Grab oil filter. There we go. Just hand tight. So I just got to put the stud back in, which I removed. 15 millimeter wrench. Tighten that down. So I weaseled that back on. Now we're just going to put it up in place. It slips on just like that. That goes on there. Now I'm obviously not going to be able to get that nut back on over here, so what I will do is I've got some metal zip ties that should hold it on just fine. It's probably not going to go anywhere. I'm not too worried about it. So, Dad's playing with his radios in the background, but that's the weird noises you might be hearing. So I got some 32,000 safety wire, and a pair of vice grips, and a cheap pair of pliers. I don't have any sort of metal zip ties. I thought I had a bunch, but I don't know where they went. So what I'm going to do is just wrap a piece of 32,000 wire around here, then back to here, and then tie it off. So that's what I'm going to do to keep that in place. Should work just fine. So now just to put the starter back on. That was a small pain, but that'll hold it. That wire is very strong. It's not going to break. You could put zip ties in there, plastic ones, but just be aware that they're going to probably become brittle and break over time. But like I said earlier, the right way to do this is to remove or partially remove that motor mount to gain access to that nut, and then do it that way. But I'm not really worried about it, so I chose to do it this way. Anyways, let's get the starter back up. Putting the bolts back in, just mount it in place. All right, so now just to put these two nuts back on. There's the one. That's a 13 mil. Now to grab the small lead. Put that back on. Make sure that little tanger's right there. Put your 8 mil or 10 mil or whatever that is back on. Cinch that down. And we got this cap. That goes on one way. Make sure I get it on the right way. And that went on just fine. So now just to do a cleanup, and then I'll meet you guys at the end of the video. So I just reconnected the battery. I'm gonna take it off the ramps. Starter works. There we go. So everything's worked as advertised. I'm happy with that. Just got to do my cleanup. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Stay tuned for more.